Hampton, Rhode Island, today with Elizabeth Phinney.
Hello.
And Elizabeth Phinney has a studio called Fit After 40, right?
Fitness After 45.
After 45.
Yes. The studio is called Studio Bod Spear, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and Bod Spear is short for Body Spirit.
Okay, excellent. So tell us a little bit about your background. How long have you been doing this? Did you do something before that? Have you reinvented yourself?
I reinvented myself, yes, which happens often with children.
Yes.
My first career was in the travel industry.
Okay.
And I did that for about 15 years. And I was in incentive travel, which is a very small part of the market. So fast forward, marriage, babies, moving down to Little Compton as a single parent, unfortunately, and having 3 kids under 5, I needed to make a living. And when I turned 45, my youngest was 5. And I knew that if she had a baby at 40, I'd be 80. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have got to do something. So I wanted to be physically fit for that little baby.
Mm-hmm.
So I started working out. And one wonderful woman who I will always be grateful for, and she said, have you ever thought about being a personal trainer? I was like, no, but I could do that. So I studied and got my certification, and I did that in 2000. Mm-hmm. And then I hung my shingle at a house I was living with on the other side of town, and if you build it, they will come. And people just can't. I was the only personal trainer in town. So I had a very successful business, and have had since then. And so about 9 years ago, my mom, who is aging, she's 95 now, I moved in with her. And so this used to be the gardening shed. So we turned this into a smaller studio. I did have a studio in the town north of here. But now it's small. I take 6 people at a time in classes, and I also do one-on-one training here. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much where it all came from. And Bod Spear is short, as I say, short for Body Spirit.
Yes.
And what that is having been entrepreneurial for so long, I knew that I couldn't just pump iron. We had to lift weights differently. And every exercise I came across for my body at 45, because that's when I started, was I had to modify it. And so over the years, I've modified about 240 different exercises. When you get older, we lose muscle tissue every day. Every day we're losing muscle tissue over the age of 30. And
that's scary.
It is scary. And you lose a ½ pound of muscle tissue a year starting at 30. So go to 60, okay, and your weight might be the same, but you've lost 15 pounds of muscle tissue and you replace it with 15 pounds of fat.
I was going to say, it's usually not the same. It's gone up, so it's gone up with fat and not muscle.
Right. Well, so the muscle's gone down and the fat is there, and then anytime you gain weight, you're not gaining muscle weight. Most likely, you're gaining fat weight, but you can stay the same weight. Like a lot of people pride themselves, well, I'm 75 and I still weigh as much as I did when I'm 35. Yes, but how much muscle tissue do you have now versus when you were 35? So in here, in Studio Bod Spear, and what I try to do with Fitness After 45 is to get people to understand that, first of all. And secondly, probably the #1 mission that I am on is for people to recognize how much control they have over how they age. That is key.
So as long as you keep up the movement and you keep those joints going, you have a better chance of aging well and being healthier longer, being able to move longer.
Right. Well, what it is you got to strengthen the muscle tissue. And they say that in all medical journals, scientific studies and everything, you've got to strengthen the muscles. And when the muscles are strong, then they accommodate anything you want to do. So if you want to shovel, the back muscles and everything. No, I know. I never do either. Who else is going to do it? But when you want to do activities like gardening, like house cleaning, like even crocheting and knitting, you know, if you've got strong shoulders and strong hands and forearms, you can accommodate the movement that's necessary when you crochet or knit. When you're shoveling, you need a strong back and you need strong shoulders. So when you exercise those, make them strong, then they're better available for what it is that you want them to do. And that's really what it's about. We can't just expect our body to not hurt after we do something if, in fact, if we're not strong, like I say, the body's going to do it anyway. So we need to get that strengthening in there to so that we don't hurt and that we don't hurt ourselves, especially our joints, because the joints, you know, once you start having trouble with the joint, it's kind of there until you can. But many of my clients, many, hundreds and hundreds of clients have had shoulder pain, don't have shoulder pain, had hip pain, don't have hip pain.
That's great.
Lower back, gone.
So they can reverse issues.
Absolutely.
Even if they haven't exercised in a long time,
Absolutely. Yeah.
they can bring that back. What's the biggest success story you've ever had?
The biggest, well, the biggest success story. Well, I have a 92-year-old woman who's been with me for 14 years, and she's still driving and living independently in her home.
Nice.
Yeah, and I have another woman who's been with me for 18 years, as long as I've been certified, and she is 87. She's still driving. She has another home that she goes back and forth to. She travels all over the world. Both of them travel. So and that's really, what is it that you want to do when you're in your 80s? And these women have made decisions, and so that's what they do. But on a different take, I've got, I have a woman in her 70s. She started with me in October of one year, a few years ago. And she just came to class twice a week, and that's what she did. She did everything that we did. She didn't do anything outside of here. This was the only form of exercise. She had a dog. She walked the dog. And we would let the dog, because there's something about dog walking. You have to let the dog off the leash to get your own walk. Otherwise, it's the dog's walk. See what I mean, right?
Yeah,
right? Because you have to stop it.
Yes.
Right, exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So it's everybody thinks,
stop
well, I
at
walk
every
my
tree.
dog. Right, exactly. So what kind of a walk is it? So
Yeah.
as long as, anyway, so she can let her dog go. So she, that's all she did. And so she started, as I say, in October. In January, she went skiing one weekend, which she and her husband would ski a couple of times, you know, a year.
Okay.
And she came back and she went, my legs didn't hurt. My legs didn't turn to jelly. I could ski 2 days in a row. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
And I said, did you stretch after you skied? She
Yes.
said, yes, I did.
Yeah.
And so she took to heart the respect that you need for your body when you're asking it to do those things. And and she was thrilled. She was ecstatic. And her sister, who comes to class too. Yeah, it really is. I mean, that stuff warms my heart. Yeah. And her sister started a year later. And she actually drives from Providence to come here, which is a 45, 50-minute drive to come to class twice a week. So she came and she went hiking with her kids and their kids and, you know, and friends. And she said she kept up with the kids and her husband and everybody else was behind, and she was up, and they went up like 2,000 to 3,000 feet, you know, high elevation. And again, she stretched afterwards and she didn't hurt, you know, so that's the point. The point is that when you give to your body will respond to you in kind. So when you strengthen your body and respect it, what it needs, because your body needs that, and then it will give back to you and let you do whatever it is that you want to do within reason.
And it doesn't have to be like the pumping iron, the grunting, and you know, trying to lift 50 pounds.
Right.
It can be, as you say, more gentle.
Very much so. And lighter weights. You don't need heavy weights when you slow down. And actually with bod sphere, because it's in rhythm with your breathing, and everything, and it slows down. Some people just close their eyes and they just go in the rhythm with their own breathing. So everybody's moving at a different pace because everybody breathes at a different pace. So it's a very gentle, very relaxing, meditative style. So it is, yeah, and it's non-strenuous. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you talked about stretching a few times. How does stretching fit into all this? How important is it for us to stretch our...
Well, it's interesting. I had just started a new client this week. And she's in her mid-70s, and so she came to a class, and great, and she has strength, and she has agility, which is great. And then it came time to stretch, to do that, because we do 4 leg exercises, and then we stretch the legs. And she's very inflexible, and that's why she called in the first place. She said, I really need some stretching. And so because our muscles, when we use them, okay, if we exert the muscle tissue, so just kind of think of, you know, rubber bands, okay, a rubber band goes back and forth like this, so that's your muscle.
Right.
So now all of a sudden you're demanding of the muscle, so the muscle tissue is going to come up and gnarl together in order to accommodate whatever it is you're trying to do. So if you're trying to lift something heavy, and the muscle tissue comes together and gnarls together to do that. So once you finish the exertion and stop that exercise, then you want to realign the muscle tissue so that everything kind of goes back to the way it was.
Okay.
And by doing that, then everything is primed to do whatever it is the next thing that you want it to do. And so that's what the stretching does. So many men in particular, I call it jock knee. Men in their 60s who were athletes as kids, teenagers into their 20s, never stretched. And now they can't straighten their legs. And women too, I mean, they're guilty. So I have people sit on the floor with their buttocks up against the wall with the legs out straight. Your knees, the back of your knees, should be able to touch the floor. Yeah. And if you can't, you got jock knee. Yeah. Which is my term. I made it up. But that's what I call it. And so what that means is now you've got, and it's not just all the ligaments and tendons that are in the knee. It's also the muscle tissue that goes to the knee. And all of that needs to be stretched. So there are ways to do that, but it takes time.
So if you can't straighten your leg out completely, that's got to have an effect on things like walking and have an effect on your back, I'm sure.
It does. Well, over time. So there you go. So if you got your knees bent, okay, and that's pretty much, now standing up straight is easier, you know, when we stand up, but the muscle tissue will slowly bring you down. Well, as the muscles go down, what happens is your pelvis tends to tilt forward because it's going to pull the muscle tissue, it's going to keep pulling, so the hips are going to come forward. Well, when that happens, then we start to tip over this way. So here we are. So you keep not doing anything, so by the time you're 80, 85, 90, here you are.
And you see people like that all the time.
Yeah, you do.
But they can they reverse that?
If you're 85, it's kind of hard. You can do it to make them more comfortable. Yeah, you need to start sooner. And you know, people laugh at me because I say, well, to me it's a 20-year plan. I started when I was 45, I'm 65 now, and I finally have gotten to a point where I'm very happy where I am. I eat right, I exercise on a regular basis, I get good sleep, I meditate every day. You know, I do everything that I'm very proud of the way that I live my life. It's not easy, but it's my choice. And like I was saying, I want to control my own aging. I'm motivated. I have a death age, which I think is kind of an interesting concept to think about. How old are you going to be when you die? You know, and I'm shooting. Right, yeah. I mean, and some people are thinking about it, but my death age to me is 104. I'm going to make it to 104, and I'm going to be very healthy. I'm going to be very fit. Now, I'm not going to be running a marathon when I'm 104. I have no intention, don't want to.
No, but the key is being able to do everyday functions and be on your own, not have to have people take care of you. Right. And nobody wants that.
No.
So that's why I think it's important for people to understand their ways that they can help themselves to stay healthier longer.
Well, take the responsibility and not pass it off to their kids in 20 years. Right. To have to take care of them. I mean,
it's only fair we took care of them, but I don't want to be that way.
We didn't ask to be here. And we have a decision. I mean, we have control of this. Yeah. We don't have to. Yeah. And so that's the hard part, you know. I mean, you know, as I say, I moved in with my mom 10 years ago, or 9 years ago, and that's a big deal out of my life. You know, so I don't want to have my children have to live with me because I can't live by myself. Yeah. And so that's my big thing is I do a funny thing. I do a program called the Fit Workshop. It's the Fitness Inspiration Transformation Workshop. It's a weekend workshop that I do. And one of the exercises that we do kind of towards the end of the weekend as we're wrapping things up and everybody's pretty motivated at that point. So I get them to take out a blank piece of paper. And if they have kids, great. If they don't have kids, a spouse. But they're going to write a letter and say, you know, Dear Susie and Joe, I just want you to know I've had a wonderful workshop weekend, but this just is all overwhelming to me. So I'm not really going to do anything for my health. I'll walk every now and then. But I'm giving you a heads up so that in 20 years from now, you're going to have to take about 10 years out of your life to take care of me. Because I'm making the decision now that it's too much of an effort for me. You know, and that was like, people, I know, hardcore, huh? But people really are like,
tough love.
but it's real. It's happening. Yeah. Look at our generation. Yeah. How many parents are we taking care of? We didn't ask for this, and they didn't. And my mother is like, God, I'm alive another day. You know, she no more expected to be alive this long than fly to the moon. So nobody prepared.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't prepare. So now, so that generation, it's not their fault. Our generation, if we end up like that, it is our fault.
We should know better.
We should, we do, yeah, we really should. We really should know better.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'd like to actually maybe show us a few things that people can do. I know a lot of people are like me. I don't really like to exercise.
Yeah.
You know, I like to do fun things,
Yeah.
you know, dance or hike, but I don't do those every day. So, and I sit at a computer all day doing web design. So consequently, I have to make the effort to move. Right. So what are a few things that people can do that's this easy, that maybe at home? I don't want to join a gym.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to or don't have the funds. What are some things we can do at home?
Well, of course, they could become a member of my membership site.
Oh, okay.
For only $10 a month.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's strength training there. It's you get access to 1-hour videos, and they're full classes, the same classes we do in here.
Oh, okay,
but
excellent.
You really want to strengthen. I mean, like I was saying before, because walking is one thing. We walk anyway, so our body's going to accommodate the walking. Walking does not make us strong.
Okay.
It keeps us fit, but it does not make us strong.
Need some resistance
You
training.
need the resistance in order for the hips not to wear out, the knees not to wear out, the shoulders, the hands. Okay, so that's where the resistance comes in.
Okay.
So in order for you to play golf and do any sport activity, remember, is actually taking from your body. Okay? Makes sense? Because you're using your body to win. That's what you're doing, or to beat your last score. That's what you're doing. So you're really taking from your body. The only thing to give to your body are exercises like the Bod Spear program or any kind of strength training. Zumba, for instance. Zumba's fun. It's aerobic and it gets you moving. Or you can walk. Now, if you walk, though, you want to make sure that you walk faster than you normally do. You don't want to stroll it. You want to walk faster than 3 miles an hour. You want to get out there and really move. And you want to stretch when you get back. So now, but some of the stretches, you were saying you sit at your desk all day.
I know.
I sit a lot too, you know.
Yeah.
So the key is get up every hour.
Yeah.
Get up for 5 minutes and just kind of walk around, get another bottle of water or whatever.
I do that. I can't sit for.
Yeah, well, that's good, and I'm sure your body appreciates that because you do want to just kind of get the blood flowing again.
Yeah.
But there are 2 stretches that are really important to do when you get up from the chair. Okay.
Okay.
And so they're very simple. Okay, so one is, and this is really great also, when you get in and out of a car, like if you've been driving for a couple of hours, when you get out of the car, because you should stop no more than 2 hours. You never want to drive longer than 2 hours. You want to stop and move around.
Right.
And same thing on an airplane. When you travel, you want to get up every hour, walk up and down the aisle of the plane. But anyway, so you take your fingers behind your back, like this, interlace the fingers, and then you pull your shoulders back, and then you pull your shoulders down. Right, doesn't it? See, your body's talking to you. You know, we have to respect how the body communicates. So the body's telling you, yeah, this kind of feels good. So, and then you hold it for 30 seconds. And it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, unless you got a clock. So that's how we do that one. And then the other one is for your back. So you bring your hands out in front. You clasp your hands. You never want to do this with your fingers because then you're compromising the joints in your fingers. So you clasp between the forefinger and the thumb. Pull. Okay, have your feet hip-width apart, parallel. Bend the knees a little bit. Okay, pelvic tilt. So bring your hips forward and then pull forward with your arms and drop your chin. That's it. There you go. Okay, and that should feel good. And what that does is that stretches your back all around, both sides, off of the spine, and it stretches it from the neck down to your coccyx. Right?
Yeah, I can feel it.
Yeah, it covers the entire back. And you want to drop your chin because the back goes up your neck. Also, looking at my wonderful lady here, because see, this is the trapezius, this purple one, and those muscles go all the way up your neck. So you want to be aware of those. Now, those muscles, we're all in trouble with those muscles now because of the phones.
Yeah, we're going like this.
We're going like this.
Right?
So again, overused rubber band, right?
Yeah.
So everything, we're tilting forward, tilting forward, tilting forward. So for that, you want to make sure that you lift your head up, bring your head back, and have your chin level. And that is just something to be aware of. One way that you can, test yourself is whenever you're walking in, like in a mall or walking down a strip mall or something, look at yourself in the reflection. People don't like to look at themselves, or any time. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
It's really, so you really want to make sure when you walk that you are standing up straight.
And you mentioned that before. Posture
is so important.
Yeah.
And there are ways to do that, which we can look at. But keeping the shoulders back always, because we always think we're in posture and we're not in posture. And a lot of it has to do with this, with our inner shoulder. If our inner shoulder is rounded, then everything in the back is curved around that way.
Makes sense.
Right. And so that's going to pull us farther forward, and again, getting into that bent over little old lady look. And there's a way, can I grab a stick?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you have a broomstick at home or a golf club, you put it inside, just like that.
Okay.
Okay. Now for me, this doesn't do anything because I have good posture. But for a lot of people, this is really, really hard. I had a client, a wonderful, wonderful man, who was 85, I think, and he would, in the bathroom, because he got up every night and went to the bathroom, and he had a stability ball, the big round balls. He'd sit on the stability ball, and he had his golf club, and he'd sit like this, like for 15 minutes in the middle of it, and he'd read a book. And I will tell you, it was over about 18 months, his posture really did improve. So it was well worth it.
Excellent.
So anyway, do you want to try this?
Yeah.
Okay. So you put it inside your elbows. Okay. There you go. How hard is that? There you go. That's all you got to do.
I mean, I do definitely feel a stretch.
Yeah, across here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so now to do that, you just watch the news. Oh, don't watch the news. But
that's really too depressing.
Or watch television, or have a conversation, or whatever it is that you can stand up and do, that you can just as easily sit down and do.
Yeah.
And so and I have lots of people are doing that.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to do anything while you're doing it. You want to make that the priority.
Okay.
And that, which is another thing, is when, a lot of people do a lot of different kinds of exercise together. Like they might, like in a class in a gym, you'll do squats and you'll do bicep curls at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And to me, the brain's going, okay, do you want me to go to legs or do you want me to go to biceps? What's your priority here? And so for me personally, that's why in our class, one muscle group at a time. It's just one, let the entire being focus on that one muscle group. And that way, then the muscle gets complete attention, complete focus, and then the brain can accommodate everything that you need to do for that muscle, and because the body's talking to itself all the time.
Right.
And so that's why the one at a time. Therefore, so when you're doing that, you might want to just do that.
Okay. So for how long should people exercise or move every day? For how many days a week?
Well, I have a lot of competition in the fitness industry with this, because so many times you see like 10-minute workouts. It's like, no, because to me, again, exercise is the gift that we give our body. Okay, we are awake basically 116 hours a week, and my recommendation is an hour a day, 6 days a week. So that's 6 hours out of 116 hours a week that you are giving back to your body. Now, if you haven't been exercising for a long time, don't start with an hour. But build up to that, and add 5 minutes every week, or even 10 minutes every month. Whatever's going to make you do it. That's why I say it's a 20-year plan. Change is hard.
Right. So
allow yourself, as long as you're going in the right direction, it doesn't matter how long it takes you, because you've got the rest of your life, so there's no hurry.
Right.
So yeah, I an hour a day, and also some days if I can't get the whole hour in, if I can only get like 45 minutes, then I always say, well, I meditate too. So that's the other 15 minutes of giving back to myself. So, but just eventually, it's an hour a day of exercise, and then it's 20 minutes to a half an hour of meditation.
Now, what about the idea of getting your heart rate up? Because the things that you do, it seems like it's a slow and steady pace. You probably don't raise your heart rate.
Correct.
Is it important to do that as well? Or?
Yes, and there are lots of different stories about that too. Aerobic exercise is getting your heart rate into your zone. I'm sure you've heard about having your zone. Everybody has a different zone. But what happens is you want your heart to go up into that zone, maintain steadiness into that zone for at least 20 to 30 minutes, and then cool down. So that can be like a 40 to 50 minute process, and do that 2 to 3 times a week. And what that does is, because the heart is a muscle, so that's the way that the heart needs to be exercised. The legs need to be contracted, the heart needs to be pumped, and pumped steadily, but at a faster pace. Right? So you want to, as I say, 2 or 3 times a week for about 45 minutes if you can, as long as they're 20 to 30 minutes in the zone.
All right, so a fast walk maybe can fill the bill of getting your heart rate up if you're walking fast.
And you want to monitor your heart if you can, and that means you want to ideally get a heart rate monitor. They're about $50, and that will monitor it. You can find out heart rate formula, just Google it, and to find out exactly what your heart rate should be, or certainly you can email me and people can ask and I can give them the formula to figure out exactly where their heart rate should be. And everybody's different too. You know, you have to feel what, you want to be able to talk. You don't want to be able to keep pulling in your breath because you're so out of oxygen. That's too fast. Okay? But you want to be able to, if you're walking with somebody, that you're both having a conversation. When you swing your arms, it gets a higher intensity. When you walk, take longer strides. If you don't like to walk fast, take longer strides. What happens in aerobic exercise and why the heart pumps harder is it's all about oxygen. Okay? When the muscles are demanding more oxygen to accommodate what it is that you're asking them to do, then their signal goes to the heart and says, hey, more oxygen, or probably to the brain first, and the brain tells the heart, more oxygen. So the heart's going to pump faster, so that more oxygen can get to the legs. Make sense? Gotcha. So when you walk faster, more oxygen. Longer strides, more oxygen. So that's why the heart will pump faster.
Excellent.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, good.
So this has been great, and I think you've given us a lot of information about how we can help ourselves stay healthier longer. And you can reach Elizabeth by going to her website, and it's www.FitAfterFortyFive.
FitnessAfterFortyFive. All one word.
.com.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you have a membership site now. That's awesome.
I do. It's on the website. You can get all the information there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for spending the time and giving us all this great information.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Thank you.